Knicks make the deadline move for Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanović. But are the Knicks close to an ECF? We're going to talk about how these guys fit on the squad and what the front office may have been thinking. And has the front office been validated? Have they been validated for all the moves they've been making to try to get the Knicks close to an ECF? Get us flexible for that star in whichever upcoming year is going to be? Has a draft strategy been validated as well too? Let's talk about it. So the Knicks make the big move, or it's not a big move, but they make the move for Bojan Bogdanović. Alec Burks bringing him back after they traded him several years ago. Obviously, him and Ozawell get cap space to sign Jalen Brunson. Bojan Bogdanović coming over from Detroit Pistons, a solid player. He used to be one of my guys when Indiana Pacers. That one year they went to Game 7 against LeBron James. I think it was the first round of the playoffs, man. That Bojan, we're not getting that one. He's older, 34 years old. The Knicks made the move, sending Quentin Grimes as well as Evan Fournier, sending Malachi Flynn and Ryan Arcidiacono, 2 second-round picks to Detroit Pistons for those 2 players I just mentioned. Interestingly enough, you would almost think that the Knicks played it pretty smart with Bojan Bogdanović. His elbow injury, they kind of kept that in the wraps in terms of severity, kept the Pistons at bay. Pistons were initially asking for first. Now, Troy Weaver, I believe, Troy Weaver is the GM of the Detroit Pistons. He came out recently and said, yo, we could have got better offers last year. Now, there's a lot of friction between Troy Weaver and the GM, and the owner of the team, as well as the coach. Very bad friction. Got guys hiring their sons to take up important front office positions. A lot of nepotism. Guys trying to kind of create these little, trying to protect themselves, insulate themselves by hiring their own. It's a bad situation. There's talks that the GM didn't want Cade Cunningham. He wanted Jalen Green, but the owner wanted Cade and all this. It's bad in Detroit. And I got to give it to the Knicks. I've been very critical of this front office, excluding Brock Aller. I've been very critical of this front office in terms of how they've been moving. And I haven't been truly convinced, even though they made some solid moves. Obviously, Jalen Brunson creating cap or creating enough flexibility in the cap for the next star. Dante DiVincenzo, I thought, was a great signing. OJ Anunoby was a good trade for, you didn't have to give up any first-round picks. They've been moving very shrewdly. Also using the lawsuit to their advantage to say, hey, look, on some real mafioso-ish, you laid it down. You know what I'm saying, man? We can let, you know what I'm saying? Give me OG Anunoby. I don't give no first. I give you 2 guys that we're not gonna we're not gonna resign. One that would kind of is somewhat of an ill fit here, even though he's my son RJ Barrett, and obviously the former was married quickly, and we let it go. Mafioso deals. Then they made up with Rich Paul, even though we didn't get any of Rich Paul's clients. DJM was one of the guys being mentioned. Made it with Rich Paul. That's going to be another nice little cachet of players who could be traded to the Knicks and given the green light to be traded to the Knicks. Outside of Zach LaVine, obviously had the foot injury. And now the Knicks are doing something I've talked about before, taking advantage of a franchise in chaos in the Pistons, a team that wanted a first for Bojan, and Knicks didn't budge. Say, hey, yeah, OJ Anunoby's good. Don't worry about that. We'll give you 2 seconds and this expiring, and Quentin Grimes, who just doesn't fit our team. Now, in some regards, people might see Quentin Grimes is still a first rounder, obviously with some years taken off. But smart, shrewd moves by the Knicks. I like what they did with this move, and we got to talk about this front office, man. They've been doing some good work. Recently, I just want to point this out, and who we trust benefits of the trade. Again, complementary players. We're going to get to a little bit. I'm going to talk about Alec Burks and Bojan individually. Look at their stats, how they fit this offense, how the Knicks can also expand the offense as well too. Also going from small to big guards, wings. We were going out there with guys like Quentin Grimes guarding your threes. He was supposed to be our starting three this year, or not our starting three, but a guy could play interchangeably at the 2 and the 3, especially on the defensive end. And Tom Thibodeau's been shifting away from that, going to the OG Anunoby's, going to what he knew best, the little dang types. And now you got Bojan, and Bojan's not he's not a good defender by any stretch of imagination. But in terms of offensive mismatches, Bojan can still create a little bit. He's not the greatest of isolation creators, but he's a guy who can move well, still move relatively well for his age and his size off of screens. Can move in space. Can move without the ball. Good spacing. Same thing with Alec Burks. You're talking about a 6'5" guard who can still take on some of these smaller guards, and not in terms of bully them to the basket, but still has a little post-up mid-range game, can hit shots from the outside, moves well without the ball as well too. Bojan, I think, is 6'7", 6'8". So again, when he switched on to some of these smaller guards, come off the wing, dribble handoffs, attacking the basket, he's definitely going to have those advantages at hand. Also be able to space out the floor. So if you get a smaller 4, even a 5 draped up on him, when again the Knicks when they play small ball, obviously when guys are a little bit more healthy, Randall can come back healthy enough to play small ball 5, and there be some lineups that you stagger and you put out Bojan out there and he could space out the floor, something that the Knicks have been crying about for the small ball offense. He definitely fits that. And then removes the Grimes extension quagmire. Now think about this. Quentin Grimes is a young player that needs the ball, needs minutes, but he's a 3-and-D guy. So he's a solid floor guy, relatively low ceiling, but he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. It's not the greatest of returns, where I got to give you more usage to get acclimated and feel good and get into the rhythm. Like I said, throughout the years, if you look back into his college, outside of this year, for what I remember, if you look at his college years, he's a better guarded catch-shoot guy than an unguarded catch-shoot guy, and that tells me that he's a rhythm guy, which doesn't bode well for a guy who's strictly 3-and-D. So unfortunately, it just wasn't going to work here. And so the Knicks did it. That contract, think about this. In the next few years, you'd have to try to extend him, or you'd have to try to trade him. Now, thankfully, we have mafioso dealings with the Raptors. Oddly enough, the whole civil suit spy thing kind of worked in our favor, because I think that's what they use. They use it as leverage to say, hey, look, give us this trade and we'll drop it. That's why you don't even hear about it anymore, right? But Quentin Grimes, think about this. You're trying to sell him out to the market as a 3-and-D guy who's not necessarily a knockdown three-point shooter. He's not a shutdown defender. And I'm trying to trade him for what? I got to put him in the package for a bigger piece. Now, granted, before it was like, oh, yeah, we didn't want to give up Donovan Mitchell, but we didn't want to give up a whole bunch of us. It's not just Quentin Grimes. It's that we want to give up a whole bunch of other pieces for Donovan Mitchell. But they try to make it seem like he was the end-all. He was the final piece. He wasn't. But it's interesting how he's gone from that perception to now, or what could have been hypothetically, if you're still here, would have been a weird fit or a weird trade piece where his value is not that high. What you're getting out of him at his apex is probably not that great, and you have to decide whether to pay him. It just would have been ugly. Another thing too, man, synthetic extension of Fournier's contract. You extend it out another year because Bojan, I believe Alec Burks is a free agent after the season. Bojan, I believe, has one more year on his contract after the season. Is non-guaranteed at $19 million. So you eat a little bit more of a chunk in someone's contract if you could trade it for a star a year out, or by next year, because it'll be expiring by next year, and it's non-guaranteed. That is the man. That's the Cherokee. Let me chill. That's the Jada Fire. I'm joking. Freaking. Contracts right there, but it works well in the Knicks' favor. Again, got to give it to this front office how they move. Let me give it to Brock Aller. I put on Twitter, Brock Aller, to me, man, that is the Robert Duvall, the consigliere to Leon Rose's godfather. Walt Perrin. Who would Walt Perrin be? Well, Walt Perrin, if you talking about building organically and drafting, recruiting guys. Will Walt Perrin be who was the dude that said get the cannoli and taught Pacino how to shoot the gun, or how to hide the gun in the bathroom? I forget this guy's name. And then Worldwide West, yo, yeah, I gotta look this up. All right, let me look this up. So, get the cannoli character Godfather. That would be what? Get the cannoli. character got leave the gun, get the cannoli, which was improv, by the way, in that scene. Who said the damn line, man? It was the big dude, Clemenza. Yeah, Clemenza would be Walt Perrin, cause he's the organic guy, and then who's the dude that got choked out? It's not. I'm not trying to issue on World Wide West, but he's who's a big henchman dude that when he was getting choked out, his tongue was sticking out. But he was loyal to the family. But yeah, your man, Walt Perrin, your man, Mr. Capologist over here is moving very, very shrewdly for the Knicks. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if Brock Aller is a president of basketball elsewhere. Not to say he's not going to be there for the family, but he has a reputation, a good reputation around this league that he's going to fix your cap and get you in the right position. Now, obviously presidents of basketball will come in many shapes, sizes, and forms, all that stuff, but don't be surprised if Brock Aller gets the invitation somewhere. Because the way he's building up this Knicks, especially if they get that third star and the Knicks are now, in the ECFs or in championships, this is a team that was in I don't say utter disarray, because that last regime actually kept us in decent cap space once they left. They got us 4 power forwards, but when they left, we were actually in decent position. But we're in a competitive position to have a competitive roster. Roster got to go out there, compete. We get incrementally better each year with acquisitions. And then you have a team now that can go out there and get that so-called third star. Can go out in the market and say, hey, Booker, cry and complain. We'll make a trade for you. We have the pieces. Even though the young players are kind of lacking at this point, given all that we've traded away. But we have the pieces to make it work. And the Knicks did not give up any first rounders, like I said, in this trade, which is huge. Now, again, Devin Booker's a crapshoot. I just mentioned his name, obviously CAA. I don't think it's them. They didn't get a fourth guy in Phoenix. And Miles Bridges, he said he didn't want to give up his when he didn't want to get traded. But I believe he would have lost his bird rights. So I guess it's smarter than him. But he didn't want to get traded. So I think Booker's going to say. But I was just mentioning Booker off the cuff. But again, synthetic extension of Fournier's contract. There were talks of, I even said sign guys or trade for guys like Brogdon, whatnot, and that probably would have been too expensive. Maybe you have to give up a first, even if it's protected. But it's better give him 2 seconds. Give Detroit the 2 seconds. Give him 2 players that were not going to be here. Fournier was persona non grata, essentially, and Grimes is just not going to stick with this team. Smart. Give him 2 seconds. Let them go. So very intelligent on the Knicks to do that. Like I said, take advantage of a dumb franchise. At one point, it was always the Knicks. Popovich. You don't want to do business with the Knicks. They the Knicks. We remember they the Knicks. And the perception has slowly changed around. Obviously, the Rich Paul powwow definitely helps. It definitely helps a lot. You start winning. Now you're in the All-Star games with Brunson. Obviously, Randall's out, but he still got selected for one. So the perception for the Knicks is changing. Meanwhile, like I said years ago, take advantage of dumb franchises. I would have loved Jaden Ivey here. I still think they want to keep him. And I think they have an eye out on Monty Williams. Like, we gave you this coaching job. Losing a lot of games is okay, but you don't want to play Jaden Ivey now. You don't want to play these young players and stuff. And granted, DeAndre Ayton is, allegedly he's complaining about the cold out there in Portland, and he got his money. He's good. He's not even care. He don't give a f about basketball. So Monty Williams may have been right in some regards in terms of his work ethics, his dedication to the team. Not necessarily saying it, but just kind of being like, look, you're expendable because you don't want to do the pick and roll thing. Which I do think it marginalizes the game in many ways, but that's the topic for another day. I think with Monty Williams, kind of like, let's hold off on shaping this team by trading young assets because you don't like them. Let's just wait, because you might not even be here in a year and a half, or a year from now, or maybe 2 years from now. So let's stop the brakes. So we'll definitely see, but I love what the Knicks did, man. Take advantage of a dumb franchise. I'm sorry, no offense to the Pistons. I got a lot of respect for y'all. I got a lot of respect for regime. So remember 2003, 2004 was one of my favorite non-Knick teams to watch with those defensive Pistons at home teams under 80 points. But yeah, take advantage of these dumb teams. That's what this organization should be doing, whether it's to get the player you need, whether it's to make the cap more fertile or more in your advantage. Like I said, synthetically extending the Fournier expiry one more year and adding more money to it. And now the Knicks are about $2 million under the luxury cap. One of the biggest issues or concerns was not becoming a second apron team or hitting this apron when you don't have a team that's consistently competing for the ECF. You get to the second apron team where you're at that ECF championship level, where it's like, we're stuck, but this is the squad that we could win with. I believe the Celtics are one of those type of teams. If you look at the Celtics, obviously Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, they're looking at championships. Derek White, they're looking at KP. That's why they're going for guys like KP. They're looking right now, that's a championship level team. They probably might win it this year. And then again, protect assets for the future star. Like I said, did not give up any first. The Knicks are living lovely right now in terms of first that we own. We own our own 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 2030. Then we have the protected picks. The Mavericks 2024 protect, I believe, is 1 to 10 protected should hit this year because the Mavericks they're not tanking like they did last year. 2024 Pistons are tanking once the carry trade went through. 2024 Pistons protected. 2024 Wizards protected, and 2025 Bucks protected. So the Knicks have a cache A of first rounders. Again, this is going to be mostly used to get that so-called star. Even though I do think in 2024 you need to draft some guys. You need to draft at least one guy. Khalil Ware, he no longer at he's at Indiana now. Khalil Ware is a big man who can space the floor. A little on the weaker side. Runs a little low, which is my issue. I don't need no Christian Woods over here. But a guy like him. You're talking about Ryan from Virginia, mobile, fast, quick four who could move in transition. Excuse me. Who can move in transition? His jumper, it's not broken. It's not great though. But we're talking about an explosive four. Who I think if you develop his game, absolute beast. Could be an absolute beast on defense. Ryan Dunn. Why did I say Ryan Davis? Ryan Dunn, my bad. So there's a lot to like from his game. There's several guys in this draft. I just think the Knicks have to look at draft. They may not have high ceilings, but these are guys that when you get to that Brunson, that Brunson max, that you have this cheap talent on the floor that you don't need to pay until years out. When you get into those apron teams and you have him and your star, maybe two. Even though I think it's going to be just only really 2 stars because Brunson's getting paid 40 plus. You have your 2 stars, maybe one more, and then a lot of depth around him. And that depth needs to be relatively cheap and effective. So I do think they're going to draft for 2024. But besides that, the Knicks are in great position right now. And I got to give the front office, especially Brock Aller, the brainiac, the brainchild of all this, got to give him his propers. I'm going to believe the front office. Once they get that star, I believe, I'll give the front office their credit. But right now, I'm sitting back right now. And also, as you can see, the draft picks that we have here. Now, let me say something real quick, man. Walt Perrin and the New York Knicks. Got to ask this to the crowd. The Knicks draft strategy. Now, it's been all about drafting guys from high pedigree schools, UK, Villanova. Well, not necessarily drafting Villanova, but acquiring those guys. Josh Hart, Brunson, even Ryan Arcidiacono, getting those guys to play alongside, play on the Knicks. McBride, West Virginia, University of Houston, Kevin Sampson. Getting these high pedigree, smart guys, heady guys, play hard, play good defense, play very good fundamentals, let me say. And they fit their roles at times very well this year. McBride this year, IQ last year, parts of this year as well too, as this kind of mix of microwave version and kind of a facilitating guard. Typically needed gravity and Brunson to be his most effective, but also a guy who could play who I thought his defense, people call him soft. IQ's not soft. His defense that's what you want from a 6'3" player with a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan, running ragged on the perimeter, playing the passing lanes, whatever. But those guys have not. You could say they fit on this team for what Tom Thibodeau's asked them to do, but did they really succeed here in New York? And has the draft philosophy truly panned out? Just asking now. Obi Toppin to me was a flop in New York. I don't care what no one says. And that was the whole mafioso thing. They tried to impose their will, put that on top of, and I don't believe Tibbs wanted that, and it flopped. And there were other guys that the Knicks should have gotten that would have been a lot more productive than Obi Toppin. It would have been a lot more helpful either in terms of production now on the court or being used in a trade. But then you have guys like IQ, Grimes, who I think were relatively solid here, especially IQ. Then obviously you still have Sims and McBride. He's playing relatively well. Obviously, he's playing with more usage, so his numbers may look a little bit inflated. But this is a guy who couldn't shoot a three once he got to the big leagues to save his life. Kid did all that stuff in Westchester, but you see him slowly develop. Been a good point of attack defender for Tom Thibodeau. I gotta ask you guys this. Okay, we've acquired. You got your guy in OJ Anunoby, a guy that's been scouting for years. You got Bojan Bogdanović and Alec Burks. So going to be good depth, very good depth, especially to help cover for Julius Randle's absence. Has the draft strategy truly been successful? What grade would you give it? An A, B, C, or D? It would have to be, I would give it anywhere from a B minus to a B. Because I think the Obi Toppin pick was an abject failure. I hated that pick. There's no disrespect to Obi Toppin. He should have never been picked that position. Or as I say, organizational failure. Top to bottom, most of his agent did him wrong too. His agent should have been like, look. I know it's supposed to be the family. Let Obi go someplace else so he could develop. This is not the right place for him. Y'all know that. I know I'm trying to get my guy paid, but he'll get picked somewhere. Late first or whatever. I know I'm supposed to get him as much money as possible, but this is me. This is me being trying to be the righteous agent. But that was terrible. IQ panned out in terms of being a fit offensively and defensively on this team in terms of being a microwave guy. Guy never truly panned out as a leading point guard, but as a combo guard, I thought he developed very well in this team. We all know about the early groups and his emphasis on defense for IQ, especially that second year. Like I still remember when he turned on a switch in that Raptors game, and defense. We lost that game by like 9. RJ came in, hit a few threes, and Tibbs took him out for whatever reason, and then they ballooned the lead back up from like 6 to 9. Not ballooned it, but got it from back from 6 to 9 or something like that. But if you go watch that game, it was 2 years ago. IQ's defense, magnifique. He got stronger. Play the pass lanes extremely well. Just a discipline, but frenetic in a good way. Like you could use him as a weapon defender. It was beautiful to see him playing the passing lanes, point of attack defense, scrambling, rotations, smart. IQ was a good play. He was a good player for the Knicks. Grimes, failure. Let's be honest. He never panned out as a 3-and-D guy. This is a guy that the Knicks had a lot of high hopes for. If Grimes hit, Dante DiVincenzo is on the bench. Dante DiVincenzo's not doing the whole John B. I don't listen to performance out there. Just isn't. Is what it is. But Grimes to me ultimately failed. What we were expecting from Houston is 3-and-D guy, plays good defense. Obviously he had these weird injuries, with the knees and stuff, and these sprains and whatnot. But even defensively at times, he was getting beat this year. Was foul prone. We get caught. Remember the Celtics game where your man was getting abused by Tatum? Now Tatum is 6'8" and an absolute beast. But as soon as they put in RJ Barrett, Tatum was not doing as well. Now granted, not to say that RJ was a shutdown defender, but it just goes to show you that Grimes is, the defense may have been a little bit overinflated. And the shooting, like I said, he's a rhythm shooter. I need him to hit when everything is quiet. I need him on that Saving Private Ryan, sitting in a tower type ish by yourself there for hours. No food, no water. You peeing on yourself because you can't move your spot because the snipers might find you. I need you to hit that shot, and he couldn't. Dante could. Whatever Grimes couldn't do, Dante could. So is it a failure, man? McBride has been solid, but they were second round. He was a second round pick. Sims, second round pick. I remember we still had Trevor Kills here. I think that was a year that we should have traded up to get my son Jaden Hardy, which would have been a great fit on this team. I know there are concerns come out of the G League, but I feel like Tom Thibodeau, at least offensively, would have loved his talent, would be able to hone it in, kind of shave off the extra parts that unnecessary dribbles, the freaking aggressive shooting that you saw at times with the G League Ignite. I think Tom Thibodeau, he would have done good than Tom Thibodeau, but we didn't do it. So look at this our draft strategy, man. Like I said, B minus to a B. That's what I give it. Now if we're able to get a star with this, that's one thing. But even OJ Anunoby is injury prone. Guy's injury prone all the freaking time. Even though as good as he is on both ends, he's just injury prone. So yeah, and here you see the draft picks, man. We are stacked. You probably say like we're probably top 4 in terms of picks. So you have to think about the Spurs, OKC. They're pretty stacked in the pick department. Utah Jazz have a lot of picks as well too. So I would probably put the Knicks anywhere from 4 to 5 in terms of our draft cachet in regards to picks. And got to give credit to the Knicks front office, man. They have not sold themselves out. Their worst year was the Fournier Kemba year. Because if you think about it, now salute to my brother Ralph on Rafi, on Twitter. He pointed this out. He's like, look, the Kemba Walker signing kind of hamstrung us and hurt us. Because we probably could have gotten, if we didn't have to, trade off so many guys, that whole Pistons thing to clear up space for Brunson, maybe you could get a Jalen Williams. Now, there were talks about the Knicks loving Jalen Williams. Like Tom Thibodeau was a big fan of Jalen Williams, and they wanted to draft him. But the cat mess and trying to get Jalen Brunson here would have been an absolute mess. But it was possible. Now Brock Ott was able to pull this off, get Jalen Williams, and then have Brunson here as well too. Miracles. But it was according, I forget, it was Fred Katz, I can't remember who it was, said it would have been. Yeah, it would have been on some tough-ish. Like, it was almost damn near impossible, but it was possible. Damn near improbable, but it was possible. Now, let's get to the players who are coming in. Obviously, Alec Burks has been here 2 years. But was it 2 years ago? Got traded to Detroit to help clear up some cap space for your man Brunson. We do a lot of business with Detroit. Well, a lot of our players see to go through Detroit. Your man Kevin Knox he just got waived. But a lot of these players been going through Detroit. It's a weird connection. But yeah, Alec Burks on the older side, 32 years old. It's crazy because Alec Burks, I want to say, remember him coming out of when he was with the Jazz. He got drafted by the Jazz. He wasn't this great 3-point shooter, but like he's been I won't say knockdown, but he's been a very versatile, very efficient, 3-point shooter over the years. It's just become his bread and butter. So good on Alec Burks, man. This guy has been very steady from the outside. Again, inside he's not great. He can hit a few mid-range shots, but he's not a guy who's gonna be his man off the dribble. He takes a lot of his shots from the outside. About almost more than half of his shots come from the outside. He shoots 5.7 threes this season with Detroit, and had about 9.4 on 9.4 attempts. Like I said, if you look at his career starting out, he wasn't a great he was a solid 3-point shooter. Really took stride probably maybe around I think it was with Philly, no, Sacramento, Golden State, because that's when his attempts kind of shot up. Now he was shooting around had a few years shooting 40% early on, 38% early on, but it was like off of 2.5 attempts a game. But again, he's a guy, when you look at some of the positives, been here, done that. He's familiar with Tom Thibodeau's system. He understands his role here, even though he's playing over IQ at the time, that second year, Tom Thibodeau's second year here, which I thought was kind of stupid. IQ should have been getting those starting minutes at the point guard position, but he is here to score. He can create. He's still a solid ISO scorer. Like I said, he can hit from the outside, but just even look at some of his numbers. When you look at what he can do as a 1v1 creator, again, it's only about 5.5% of all of his plays come from there, but he's shooting 50% from the field. He's shooting around a 66.7% effective field goal percentage, and that ranks in a 98th percentile. Again, he doesn't take a lot of attempts ISO because he's just that. It's not necessarily his game, right? It's a lot of switches that he does, and then it's final 8 seconds left on the shot clock. He'll take you to the baseline, or get to a spot at the pinch and shoot a little mid-range jumper, or shoot the three in your face. But again, just looking number-wise, he's still a very effective 1v1 creator, which we need. Like, we just don't have that outside of Brunson and at times Dante, and I'm excluding Randall. Obviously, Randall's been hurt for a while. We don't really have much creation out of anybody else. McBride's not going to sit up there and create Josh. As much as I love Josh's game, he's still very a linear attacker. It's not aggressive unless you freaking put a needle in his back. Pause. But for the most part, yeah, we are devoid of these creatives. Obviously, Alec Burks is a little bit older, but you talking about him playing against second rotation guys. He should definitely have some advantages there. Again, he's on the bigger side of guards, 6'5". He at 6'5" looks bigger, pause, than freaking Fournier, which is crazy. But again, also what Tom Thibodeau loves to do, again, have these versatile kind of multi-purpose creators, guys who can shoot off the dribble, who can take it to the hole, who can make the proper pass when need be, which Alex Burks can also do, can hit the outside shot, move the ball around, take the hockey assist, versus sitting up there trying to wait. They work well in the system. They're a good cog in the system. That's what, your man Burks is, microwave scorer. And you look at games like he had a game against, I think it was the Bucks, January 20th, like the end of January 20th or 19th, something like that. Killed the Bucks, 33.7. I think he had like 7 threes, 6 assists. But if you just look at that game, the threes he was taking, like when he gets into hot rhythm, and he's done this with the Knicks before. He had a crazy game years ago. I think it was last year here with the Knicks, second year with the Knicks. It was against the Pistons. He had like 30-something points against the Pistons. White hot from outside, just killing him. Granted, it was the Pistons, but he's that type of player. He could run the pick and roll well. Something that outside of Brunson, I believe, Dante, we don't have a pick and roll scorer outside of Brunson and Dante who's averaging more than 45% from the field as a pick and roll scorer. So think about how hamstrung our offense is, where you can't freaking guys on call for screens. Grimes didn't do that. But we have essentially, and look what happened to the Mavericks. Granted, we had a lot of guys missing, but without Randall and without creators who can either go 1v1 or use a screen, you can see like that Mavericks game kind of may look like some games in the future, or some games where we just don't have his creators. Now, granted, again, a lot of guys don't marry them one for one. But again, he's effective over the pick and roll. Ran at 21.8% of his plays came in the pick and roll. He shot around 33.7% from the field, 41% effective field goal percentage. That ranked in the 69th percentile. And again, it's decent numbers. Not the greatest, but it's decent numbers. Again, you're going to have guys. He knows how to call screens. He's going to call from Sims when he's healthy. He's going to call from iHeart, either as well as pressure true. Just get the easy buckets, get the easy looks to the guys who are open. Guys who are maybe on the outside once the defense collapses. A tagger maybe help out. So again, very fundamental guard creator. Like I said, catch and shoot sniper game. I believe from his catch and shoots, he's shooting fairly high off his catch and shoots. I want to say he's shooting in the low 40s, but I don't want to get in trouble with nobody with all these statisticians. Yeah, but your man Alec Burks is shooting around. He's shooting 41.5% off of spot up jumpers, which is very good. Ranks in the 73rd percentile in terms of points per possession, which is 1.15 points per possession for Alec Burks. So again, capable catch and shoot guy. This guy who moves well without the ball. So when we talk about what the Knicks can do creation-wise, man, with these players. Now I'm going to get to Bojan in a little bit, man. Tom Thibodeau, we talk about running the pick and roll. Just these interchangeable guards who can move without the ball. Look at Dante DiVincenzo now. Tom Thibodeau does that little marrying thing where he has a guard kind of drape around or move around with Dante, kind of come through the middle to kind of move with Dante as he moves on the baseline to get open, either curl around or get open for a three in the corner while that guy that's following Dante sets a screen. So Alec Burks can be a part of that. We also talk about with our bigs like iHeart. I wish the Knicks could take a page out of what the Kings do. I think the Kings have one of the prettiest offenses. Obviously, got my son Sabonis. But we're talking about split action. We're talking about weak side action. We do it already with iHeart. We're ready to do it with the triangle. We have the weak side, strong side action. Just wish there's more action. There's a little bit more creativity on the weak side. But again, Burks has been privy to that, and he's capable of doing that. We talk about, like I said, the pin down screens. There's so many things to do with Burks. Off ball. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but we're just talking about having some more creativity with that second unit. So all things that he's been privy to, the things that like I said, in the Kings office, I was speaking of the Kings, I just lost my thought real quick. Things that you do in the Kings office, split action, like I said, iHeart, and you have you have your screener and your shooter or your cutter. So you can have both. You can have so many variations of iHeart and Jalen Brunson. Dante DiVincenzo, Burks, even McBride, Bojan Bogdanović. And like, bro, this offense, it's not. We're not even adding so many wrinkles to the offense. It's just little small things you can add. And no offense, I know Randall's out, but like I said, when we run things like the Spain pick around, we get to Bojan a little bit because he runs it. He can run it, especially given what he was doing on a Dwayne Casey. I'm not talking about Monty. Go look at what he was doing with Dwayne Casey. But it's like we can add these wrinkles without like having to freaking do a whole makeover on the offense. Don't have to do that. But again, Burks, Tom Thibodeau likes he likes his soldiers. He likes his guys who fit in fundamentally. And he's gonna get some decent usage this year. As a bench baron that Tom Thibodeau needs badly, he's going to get his minutes. The Knicks have, I think, one of the worst scoring benches in the league. I want to say they rank in the the bottom 10th, maybe the bottom 5th. I want to say they were like 26. Team stats. Why is this not showing up? So I know I looked this up yesterday. The Knicks bench ranks for points per game. This is pretty bad. Yeah, they rank near the bottom 5th, so I was close. They rank they're 24th in points per game at 30.1 points off the bench. So Alec Burks definitely helps us in those second quarters when Brunson is sitting. Spell Brunson as well too. And those late third quarters, going into the fourth quarters. Burks should definitely be a help for Brunson, who is averaging, I think he's still 5th in the league in terms of minutes played a game. Let me check. I can check that easily right now. He is, in terms of minutes played a game, he just fell out. So right now he's averaging 35.8, but there's like 3 other guys are all tied for 35.8, so he'll be 10th, right? If he's tied for 10th essentially at 35.8 minutes a night. It's a smaller guard. I know he talked about working on his legs and stuff, bro. It's too much. It's too much. But Alec Burks, all in all, fundamental bench scorer, can do a little bit of everything. Tom Thibodeau likes the versatility, likes the familiarity, and there's a need for it. So perfect on the Knicks. There's been talks about Knicks wanted Alec Burks back, and now he fits very well through this trade. Now another interesting player, Bojan Bogdanović. This was my son back with the Indiana Pacers. Not say he's my son now. I'm just saying that Indiana Pacers series, man, go back and watch it, man. Oladipo and Bojan Bogdanović. Bojan Bogdanović were killing. Had LeBron on the brink. They lost Game 7, but that Bojan was fun to watch. He was unstoppable. I know he got hurt. He got hurt. He's older now. He played with the Jazz after that. Obviously playing with the Pistons now. He can still give you buckets, man. So, and now, granted, the usage is, what I'm saying, man. He's probably most likely not getting a 24% usage with the Knicks. But Bojan does a lot of things that the Knicks need at that 4 position. If you want to play small, once Randall comes back, if he played a small ball 5, maybe just play small. We need somebody who can help space out the floor. Now, if you have a lineup of, say, Randall, and I'm talking about staggering lineups, but Randall, Bojan, Josh Hart for the additional rebounding. Because Bojan's he's not the greatest of rebounders at all. Josh Hart, Dante Brunson, or stagger. Just try to have Josh Hart in there for the rebounding, Randall. But now you have guys who can hit shots, so the offensive rebound is not going to be at a premium as it would be, or wouldn't at a premium because we'd be shooting. You'd be shooting a lower percentage with a replacement level guy versus Bojan Bogdanović. So Bojan Bogdanović does so much in terms of spacing the floor. Go back and watch some of the clips that he had with Dwayne Casey, where they were running DHOs, running weak side actions, running Spain pick and roll. And Bojan was very involved in a lot of those plays, setting the screens, moving really well without the ball, the dribble handoffs. Again, he's not the greatest of attackers. 1v1, he hit a few mid-range here and there. He can have a very ugly mid-range game, effective mid-range game in terms of just getting these ugly shots. But 1v1, he's not the quickest of players, but what I saw in some of the film I was watching under Dwayne Casey, like I said, man, what Dwayne Casey was running out there, flex actions and stuff, and your man can set screens. The Spain pick and roll, the timing was perfect. Some of the time that the Knicks, especially when Randall's in there, have struggled. The Knicks run Spain pick and roll every night. You would not think it was Spain pick and roll because it looks like it comes from freaking Uganda. It looks terrible. Not saying Uganda looks terrible, but it just looks like, come on, son, what are we doing here? We eating cow foot? Like, bro, I ordered chicken. I didn't order cow foot, man. What is this? But, yeah, man, What the hell am I talking about? Your man Bojan Bogdanović, in terms of just timing as a spacer, as a screener. Again, if you look at his screens, I think his screens he's only averaging like 2.6 screen assists a game or something like that. So it's not elite, but he just could give you a little bit of everything from that 4 position, spacing the floor, setting screens, move well without the ball. He's also effective in the pick and roll. Something that Tom Thibodeau needs. He needs creation, even if it's art, even if it's not through his top Brunson and. He needs to run plays that can penetrate into the middle. If you look at that Mavericks game, granted, a lot of guys were out. But there have been games this season where the Knicks have struggled because the three-point shots weren't growing. Now, granted, people say, oh, we're in it, but that's a modern offense. Just shoot a bunch of threes, play 5-out offense. And when those shots aren't hitting, you start to wonder, can we do something else to put some pressure on the defense and do this without Brunson? How many times this season when the bench has been there and there's no Brunson there, we get into shot clock violations, we're putting up ugly shots with a second left because the creation is just poor. So we talking about having Burks as well as Bojan now run a pick and roll. They move well without the ball. Savvy, can catch defenders on the missteps or on an over-aggressive closeouts, attack the basket a little bit, make the proper pass. Again, they're not the greatest of facilitators, but I've watched Bojan enough that he's a willing passer when need be. So with Bojan, man, like I said, effective pick and roll, still crafted despite the lack of quickness and burst. He's a willing passer. He's a tough, ugly scorer at times. He also has playoff experience. Got to think about the Jazz. You got to think about. Again, I think he got injured with the Jazz, but like I said, playoff experience with the Jazz, playoff experience with the Indiana Pacers. You know, he's been there before. The toughness, like look at the team we had last year. A lot of these guys, we got into playoffs against when we were in the Heat series. A lot of these guys fade away, man. We talking about guys like Josh Hart. We talking about IQ. Granted, relatively young, but guys like Josh Hart, you think like, okay, he has some, you know, some overall experience, had championship experience with Nova, and it's like, it didn't translate well. So NBA, obviously NBA playoffs are a lot different from college playoffs. It has Josh Hart. Did Josh Hart go to the playoffs? Did he ever go with the play? Let me see. Josh Hart stats. I say make sure he never went to the playoffs with. Why is it Josh Hart stats? I will make sure he never went to the playoffs with. I don't think he went to the playoffs. Am I bugging? He went to the playoffs. Yeah, that was the first year last year of the playoffs. Why am I thinking Lakers now? Lakers never went to the playoffs. He didn't go to the playoffs, no damn Lakers. But yeah, when you talk about experience, man, that matters. Knowing that, hey, I may come in. Coming in cold, I gotta hit these 2 shots for Brunson, space out the floor a little bit, take off pressure from the help defense when Brunson attacks into the paint. So it's hey, Bojan is gonna do a lot, and I wish I could have done some film. We have a game, against the Pacers, so I can't really. They should be here, but there's so much good film I saw with Dwayne Casey and what Bojan was able to do. Granted, it's the Detroit Pistons, so they're trash. I'm trying to take what he was doing individually in his spots and marry that what the Knicks want to do, and we should be able to space out the floor a lot better. We're gonna have a lot of better bench production. Take some minutes off of Brunson's legs. Don't DeMarco. Was it? Who's it? DeMarco Ryan? No. Who was a running back? Who's on the Cowboys? Who went to the Eagles? DeMarco Murray. Yeah, DeMarco Murray. They used DeMarco Murray up with the Cowboys. That was filthy because they knew they weren't going to resign him. They're like, oh, hey, we want to go over to a contender in the Eagles. Once he got to the Eagles, it was done. Finito. But, again, let's get back to Bojan, just what he does on the floor. Like I said, spacing out the floor. Needed badly. Not needed badly. We want a better three-point shooting teams in the league, but you need it for this playoff run, especially if Randall's out or if Randall's not going to be as physical as he was before, given a shoulder injury and maybe his apprehension to do so or to be so, it makes sense, right? So you're going to have these guys like Bojan take a lot of minutes, be able to space out the floor, be a compliment to Jalen Brunson's dribble drive offense. He's shooting on spot-up jumpers this season. He's shooting very well, 48.5% on spot-up jumpers. That's about 21.3% of his possessions. Oddly enough, he has a lot of possessions in transition. And he's a very good transition scorer, which should bode well for the Knicks. Even though he's not the greatest defensively, I think, defensively, his numbers are disgraceful. Defensively, Bojan, his on and off numbers, they're pretty putrid. When you look at It's on and off. When you look at his on and off, yeah, the team is about 9 points worse when he's on the court at 127.4 versus 118.2. So it'll be up to Tom Thibodeau to get these guys to play at least some type of adequate defense, team defense, right? Help defense. If it's anything for what we saw yesterday, man, we were screwed. But granted, they're playing Jacob Toppin and guys typically don't get a lot of minutes. But it'll be up to Tom Thibodeau to see what he can do defensively with these guys. I don't want Bojan Bogdanović caught on an island against Jason Tatum. That's going to be abuse. But we'll see, man. A lot of guys got to come back healthy for us to truly get a proper scope on this team. But again, like I said, some of the questions that we got to ask, man, draft philosophy, has that been good? How do you assess this front office after years, clearing up space for Brunson, some questionable draft picks, bringing over Kemba that led us to having a clear up cap space for Brunson? Maybe you could have had a Jalen, things of that nature. How do you assess the front office as well too? And is this team an ECF team? Are we ready for the ECF? Now we have to also talk about the buyout market. Obviously, there are things that need to be. There's a guy I would love to come back to the Knicks. That's my son Marcus Morris, man. I gotta get Marcus Morris back here. And I was gonna make a list too, man, of guys. Let me chill because I can still make this list. But Marcus Morris was a tough scorer for the Knicks. Dude was shooting. What he shot? He ended up shooting 45%, I believe, from three for the Knicks. This season again, he's shooting 40% from three off of. This guy has a ridiculously long career. Shooting around 40% from three off of 2.4 attempts a game. But for that Knicks squad, bro, he was shooting. Oh, he did no. Let me chill. He shot 44% off of 6 threes. But at one point, he was shooting 47% for the Knicks. I remember that vividly. He went on that year where the Clippers still shot 47% from 3 of 5.2 attempts, bro. Tough. Remember when Ja Morant tried to get all roddy when Elfrid Payton pushed over Jay Crowder? Yeah, man, Ja Morant tried to get roddy with it. And he was like, nah, bro, push him. And then Ja Morant tried to act like he was trying to go behind your man Jay Crowder to hide from Marcus Morris. But that type of toughness, granted, this is more just depth. This guy was just waived. I believe he was picked up by the Spurs. The Spurs waived him. Oddly enough, he was traded or signed with the Spurs years ago, and then he was like, took that off. Once he found out that Rich Paul screwed him over on the Clippers deal that he's supposed to get 3 years for 45. Rich Paul, that's dirty. Anyway, but yeah, I would love Marcus Morris back on the Knicks team, even if it's for depth. So many guys are hurt that he's probably gonna get minutes somewhere. Think about this. I'm trying to keep OG Anunoby healthy. I'll play Marcus Morris, and Marcus Morris give me spacing from the outside, hit that little mid-range shot as well too. Bro, we good. We are good. Marcus Morris, bring your back over here. Play play okay defense for us as well too. Bring your back over here, bro. You were never supposed. You are a Knick. In your blood, you are a Knick. I know you're from Philly, but in your blood, you're a Knick. Again, defensively, he's not great. 117 points. 117.7 points when he's on. 114.2 when he's off. Obviously, he's getting up there in age. I believe he's 34. I think he's 34. He has about 12 years in the NBA, which is, he is 34. 12 years in the NBA, which is great. See, long story career. When you're able to shoot, if you're a 3-and-D guy, especially if you just hit threes, bro, you stay in the NBA for a while. But I would love for him to be on the Knicks. We do have 2 roster spots. So if he wants to make a run with us, be in the playoffs and get major minutes now, spelling guys now so we can preserve them for the playoffs, bro. Come on, son. What are we doing here? Other names, man. Kyle Lowry. Not the biggest fan of Kyle Lowry. PJ Washington. I believe he got waived by Dallas. No, I think he's still with Dallas. But he can hit shots from outside, man. I don't trust PJ Washington. He plays too soft, man. Pause. He's immensely inconsistent player. Weak. I'm good. Spencer Dinwiddie. Hello, Spencer. Hello, Spencer, my old friend. And why don't you talking ish about the Knicks? Now you had a Knicks game. I know you're trying to sign with the Mavericks, but talk all that ish. And look where you at now, man. Damn, homie. In Brooklyn, you was man, homie. The F happened to you. And he would have been nice. I like Spencer on when he was on the Nets, run the pick and roll on the Atkinson. He's one of the best pick and roll guards in the league. They just open your mouth and talk all this trash, bro. Like, come on, son. Shut your ass up, man. But enjoy Dallas, Teach your man THJ how to score in the playoffs. Cause that's the only time he always your man disappoints, bro. Because I remember I bet on him too in the playoffs one time. He's just they do ish for me. Danilo Gallinari, man. We're gonna miss 2010 or whatever that year was when it was you, Wilson Chandler, Mozgov, Landry Fields. But nah, I'm good on Gallinari. His body is legitimately broken down. Robin Lopez is another guy I would consider because the depth at the center position. We could use more depth there. You know, Jericho Sims, just don't trust him. Pressure True has been doing a fine job. And they want to reevaluate Mitch, but Robin Lopez has a body to just go out there, rebound, defend, give you 10, 15 minutes. Also preserve guys like Ihart who's getting hurt. He has that ugly little hook shot that works. I'm not saying he's going to be scoring anything, but, you know, I would definitely consider him as well, too. The Knicks have been interested in Shake Milton for a while. Shake Milton is a nice little creator off the bench, or at least he was with the 76ers. That's another name to look at. Kind of, I guess he fell out of favor. I'm not necessarily sure what happened to the 76ers, but I just remember him always giving like 15, 16 points a game, can create off the dribble, can shoot a little bit from outside. He gets one of these guys who get hot, but he just never really found a starting position with the 76ers, especially after Maxey got there. Thaddeus Young is another player. I know he's up there in age, but I always wanted Thaddeus Young. He's a jack of all trades type of player, consummate professional, but now, it's getting up there in age, so it's just not as effective. But I used to like him, bro, on the rap, man. Thaddeus Young was solid, bro. Chimezia Metu, who some people thought with Memphis was a little shocking or surprising that he got cut. But he was a solid player. I remember with the Kings, he was a solid he's a solid center with the Kings, can run the floor, rebound a little bit, play some defense. Michael Scott's a player I always liked, man, just because he could shoot, but he's a little one-trick pony. And Bismack Biyombo is another name that people want to consider. He hasn't really been anything since that one year with the Raptors when he went off in the playoffs and he got signed, or he got an extension with somebody. I'm forgetting who he got an extension with. And then but he's also up there in age, man. He's Iman Shumpert's draft. Remember that. He's Iman Shumpert's draft. So, we'll see, man. But, the Knicks, I thought, did a great job. Like I said, all the things I said in the beginning about the Knicks, man, in terms of synthetic extension of Fournier's contract, making us fertile for a star, able to get talent that complements this team, but it's talent we can get out of it. Again, Burks is expiring this year. Next year, your man Bojan is expiring on a non-guaranteed contract, which I think is smart by the Knicks to do business, get a guy who can help you win now and then reset in the summer for that so-called third star. Taking advantage of a bad franchise in the Pistons, something that the Knicks have been. When we talk about what happened with the Knicks before, that's what used to happen to the Knicks. Bargnani trade. Tough times. But, again, good play by the Knicks. Some people saying they're the best front office now. I don't know about all that. You got OKC. You still got because of OKC in the mix. Obviously, the Celtics have done a good job getting Drew Holiday, KP, one of the best, if not the best team, one of the best top two, if not the number one top two. I think they're the best team in the league right now. But, again, front office did a great job with this move. Some people may not like it because, the kids, Grimes isn't playing, and Grimes isn't really doing much of anything here. Let's be honest. Like I say, he's a weird fit with his team. But, yeah, man, let's talk about it, man. I appreciate you guys being here, man. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the dark notification bell if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys, man. My name is Legion or Gmo or whatever the hell you want to call me. I appreciate you guys being here, man. Leave your comments below, man, how you grade this trade. How do you grade the front office? Do you think Brock Aller is going to be a president of a basketball team, basketball operations relatively soon or in the near future? Do we make the ECF this year? There's so many guys out. I still am not sure. Guys got to be healthy enough. You need Randall here. You need some presence in the paint. Can't just be Brunson, a whole bunch of role players. I just don't know if that is going to sustain. Right now, I think the Knicks are in fourth. Yeah, the Knicks are in fourth right now, 33 and 19. 76 is about 3 games behind us. 76, that's not a real contending team. And obviously, when Embiid out, they're about done. But Bucks are in front of us, obviously. Cavaliers another. Let's be honest. And then the Celtics. So we will see, man. I do think depends on who the matchups are. Like the Heat could be a tough matchup for us. The Pacers, I think, could be a tough matchup for us in the playoffs. Magic, another one that I'm not sure. I don't want to see the Magic. Now, obviously right now you be playing the 76ers, but it's so early in the season I can't. Not early, but let it be some. Let's get closer to like a month left in the season before we really say, oh, we're solidified here. But you know, ECF got some toughies, man. Got some toughies out there, man. Magic, I think, in a tough matchup. Heat is always gonna be a tough matchup. Pace is gonna be a tough matchup. Meet them anywhere, bro. Without Randall, I don't know. I don't know if we ECF bound, but we will see, man. Bojan Bogdanović and Alec Burks are here in New York. The offensive firepower should definitely take a little bump at that raw medicine upwards. So guys, leave your comments. Make sure to hit the dark notification so you get each and every notification for each and every video I put out there. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Gmo, Legion Knicks. Peace, Lou. God bless, and we'll see you later. Peace.